That's amazing.
How good does that sound?
What a great sound. Wow. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
Tremolos.
Yes, before we get into that, before we get into the volume increase and decrease that is tremolo,
Or the modulating of amplitude, as I like to call it.
follow my gesticulation here. Please subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, you'll see a little orange thing in the bottom corner of the screen there. Please subscribe.
Yes, thank you. Tremolo.
Tremolo, yeah, cool. Lots of people have asked for this.
Can you just play that again? Sorry, just so this is a classic tremolo sound, and this is a quite fast,
Yeah.
and not really deep, but just do a little bit of what you're doing then.
And we're going into Hamstead Artist 20 plus RT and a Fender Super Reverb, both of which have tremolo.
Ah,
But we're not hearing any amp tremolo just yet. So
No.
anyway, okay. Would you want that again?
Yeah, please. That's ace.
There's some nice reverb there. Where's that coming
That's
from?
the new neighbour on plate.
Oh, okay. The amps have got some reverb on as well, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's actually a mixture. So the amps and reverbs are still on.
And which tremolo pedal was that?
Hamstead.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Let's begin then.
Let us begin. We have not one, not two, not three, not four, but five tremolo pedals. We have the our friends at Stone Deaf.
Dan had a gig last night, by the way. Played on a boat in Southampton.
Played on a boat.
And Southampton is
Boats and tremolos.
is a short drive from here, isn't it?
It is a short drive.
Late drive. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's the first video in the morning, so if he seems a bit tired, forgive him.
Yes. So our friends over at
Stone Deaf.
Stone Deaf.
It's going to be a long one
It's going to
today.
be a long one today. Lee at Stone Deaf. Our friends at Stone Deaf have sent us the Tremotron, which I was really excited about for a couple of reasons. It has presets. It is all analog, but controlled digitally, similar to our friends at Chase Bliss, John Cordy. Thank you. Now, so let's hear this one. So this is the Tremotron.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we go any further, one pedal we haven't included today is the Mooer Trelicopter. If you want to hear the Mooer Trelicopter, you can hear it compared with the Hamstead in one of our AB videos.
Yeah.
We've used it in loads of videos before. The reason it's not on the board today is because mine is at home and Dan's is somewhere else.
Joey's board.
On Joey Landreth's board. So
That's so
Yeah.
loud today.
should we hear the amps without any tremolo?
A lance without tremolo. That's a good sound. What a sound.
Sounds great.
What a
Sounds
sound.
really good today. The reason I was fiddling there is because this guitar has quite weak pickups, which I really like. We were just discussing that, weren't we?
Sounds awesome.
And the 321, the Gigrich 321 has an adjustable kind of preamp buffer thing. So if you go like this, that's with the preamp buffer on, and if you go like this, So there was two ways around that. I could either spend 250 quid on some higher power TV Jones and 8 days wiring them in, or just add a tiny little buffer and a preamp on the front. Anyway, that explains that, hopefully.
I love those pickups, though. I think they sound fantastic.
Me too. Dan and I, sorry, a complete tangent. Dan and I often talk about pickups. We both like not powerful pickups because it seems you get more from everything else in your chain.
Yeah, we're going to do a show on that, actually,
Yeah.
on why we like low-powered pickups.
Yeah.
It's just something that coincidentally...
Brad Paisley surprised me by telling me that 7K, 7 to 7.2K in his Telebridge pickups. And there's me thinking most Telebridge pickups are more than that.
7.2.
Is it?
7.2.
So for everyone asking about why Dan's bridge pickup sounds so amazing, it's just a Fender custom shop, 7.2K normal Telebridge pickup.
Beveled magnets on this, though, which I don't see very often. But I don't know what
Makes all the difference.
Makes all the difference. Anyway.
Actually, yeah, it's a staggered.
Staggered
Because
with
quite
beveled,
often the broadcaster ones are like flat pole.
Broadcaster flat pole. This is staggered with beveled magnets on it.
We've gone on a massive tangent.
And that won't be the last one for today.
No. But it's relevant.
It is
isn't it?
absolutely relevant because, so, the reason it's relevant, when we're talking about tremolo, when we first heard it was in amplifiers. And also, tying that back in, the guitars they were using back then had the low output things and they had that lovely chime and you could hear the guitar so clearly. It wasn't, the sound wasn't dependent on these crazy high output pickups. So that's how it all started. And it's a classic sound. A lot of that Mississippi Delta blues stuff has got some really beautiful amp tremolo sounds in it. Rykuda does some beautiful stuff with amp trem. And then they worked out a way to put it in a pedal. Da-da!
Ta-da!
Arriving at the
Yes,
point.
so if you want to listen to some tremolo, listen to some early blues, listen to loads and loads of country and Americana, you'll hear tremolo all over it. Right the way through to stuff like the one of my favourite ones is How Soon Is Now, the Smiths.
Awesome!
REM, What's the Frequency, Kenneth, used to make the rhythmic meter of the song. So if you don't already know that, tremolo's used absolutely everywhere, from very nice pulsating, kind of ambient to staccato-y, and we will get into that.
Because my brain is not working this morning. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Sorry.
I knew a man named Dan.
And our friend John Stockman from Carnival.
Oh, yes, him.
If you have a listen to the song We Are, one of Carnival's tunes, mega
John
tune.
plays one of those weird guitars that has fewer strings and is longer.
He's got 5 strings. It's
Still one less.
Sorry, of course. He's a bass player. That's what you're referring to. He's a bass player. But have a listen to We Are, and he sets up this groove using tremolo on the bass, and it is amazing.
That was one of the first videos we ever made, wasn't it?
It was one of the very early ones, and they're such an incredible band. So anyway, tremolo over the years has been used in loads of different ways. It's just saying tempo-wise, the songs that you referred to, but also just as an effect where the tempo of the tremolo has nothing to do with the song. It's just this pulse.
We've addressed that in videos we've done on wet dry and also on stereo. And okay, I promise we'll stop talking in a minute. But one thing that Bonamassa did when I first met him, when he was sorry Joe, when he was running that crazy 4-amp rig with the Carol Ann and the
Silver Jubilee.
Yeah, there was 400 watt heads and 2 cabs split EVs. It was loud and glorious.
He was awesome.
It's just unbelievably good. And he was running tremolo in 1 amp all the time.
Really?
Yeah, just a little bit. And he's just to give the whole thing a little bit of movement in a wet dry.
Love that.
In a wet dry sense.
Very
right.
Good. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with the simplest to understand, shall we? So let's start with the TR2. This is my old Boss one.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Or is that not the one we borrowed from Anderton's?
No, it is. It is mine.
Dan went down to Anderton's to pick up some pedals to borrow, and managed to bring back a pedal that he already owns. That is a true sign of owning, too many pedals.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So we have in classic tremolos. We've got the depth control. So Mick, if you just want to. So the depth control controls the depth of the amplitude. Okay, so you've got your sine wave going along, and then what we're doing is we're going smaller, quieter, back to normal, quieter, back to normal. The depth controls the amount of that level reduction. Yep, and then the rate obviously is the speed of that modulation. So. Okay.
I've just noticed I'm using the wrong plectrum. I picked up some of these Tortex 1.35s, which are quite nice.
Oh, man.
But I much prefer these Primetone Dunlop ones, which sounds like a massive product placement. It's not. Can I get Dunlop to send me any of these plectrums? No. To buy them with money, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. But this is my last one, and I can't find them anywhere. 1.4 Primetone standards, and it's my favourite plectrum of all time ever.
That's what happened to my favourite plectrum last night after the gig.
Oh yeah, the Gravity picks.
I only started using it yesterday, and I really liked it because I couldn't find my Jazz 3, and I used it last night at the gig, and I just tore it to shreds. Yeah.
These.
So now I'm using my Biffy Clyro.
Right.
Okay.
Where were we? We were on. We just
done
depth.
Done rate now. Then we have the waveform. So, if you can imagine, you've got this on the Boss unit. You've got this sine wave, right, which is not gentle, top and bottom. So it's smooth. So yeah, modulates smoothly. Or we've got a triangle wave. So sorry, sawtooth wave, which has very sharp peak. So if we go from the nice
he really is tired.
The nice sine wave, we get this.
So it's just changing the speed at which the volume is increased and decreased, and
it's changing the way
rate of drop off.
So it's, instead of the modulation going ramping up and down when it goes to the square wave, it's simply on off, on off,
yep.
on off, and then you can sort of blend between the two.
And for most people, that's enough, isn't it?
For most people, that's absolutely enough. However, there is an issue. So if we go from our standard bypass sound, and then I'm going to put the tremolo on, have a listen to what happens.
Huge drop off in volume. Perceived volume.
Exactly. It's a perceived volume drop. In actual fact, it's not a drop off in volume at all. But because half of that signal is missing, your brain is saying it's not loud enough. So a very popular mod to do on these the TR2s, I think Keeley
definitely
did that.
Yep.
And then there's a couple of guys that do it, is adding a volume control so that you can lift the volume and give it a bit more of a boost. That moves us on to the next one, which is the pedal that we both own, is the Hamstead Soundworks. So again, this has your speed and depth. We've got two different waveforms. We've got the classic. The classic is very Fendery, you know.
Yeah.
But the signature, it's smoother. Now this is the circuit from their amplifiers. All right. It's very ampy, and it's beautiful. But the great thing about it is you also have this boost switch. So I'll kick this in. So now when I go from the bypass sound,
it's just such a cool sound.
it is such a great sound.
And it's funny, you know, listening to it there, I could hear that the peaks were louder with the boost on, but the perception is that it's about the same volume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's really important.
It's
really
very important. Psychoacoustics.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
So cool.
Okay. The next one we're going to have a look at is the Super Trem. So this is a very, very popular tremolo pedal from about mid-90s. Is that right, Simon? This belongs to our producer.
Belongs to Simon, yes, behind the camera.
We've been told we have to say nice things about it. Otherwise,
I wish I knew Mike Fuller. I've conversed with him a couple of times on email many years ago. Every single pedal he makes that I've ever played suits me.
Right. Wow.
I was about to say sounds awesome, but of course that's a ridiculous thing to say because not everyone likes the same thing. But everything I bought a wah-wah recently. I was like, what wah-wah should I buy? Oh my god, there's 8,000 different wah-wahs out there. I know what I'll do. I'll buy the Fulltone. Yeah. Plugged it in. Perfect.
Yep. Yep.
Just perfect for my ears.
Yeah.
And it seems to be whatever I get from Fulltone does that. So no high expectations here then.
Okay, well let's have a listen. Hard and soft.
So that's interesting. So in terms of the waveform, the Boss gives you the continuously variable between two. The Hamstead gives you a switch to switch between two kinds. And the Super Trem is giving you a switch between two kinds. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, cool. We'll just make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
That half-speed switch is really nice.
And am I right in saying Fulltone's not giving you an option for the boost here? It's just saying, here's a volume control, have it as loud or as quiet as you want it.
Exactly. So I'm assuming that's going to be unity there. So let's have a listen to that. Then,
so, do me a favour, turn the mix all the way dry.
That sounds great.
So you've got a lovely little boosty preamp on there as well. Hooray. Not big enough to turn with your foot.
Yep. Very
Here
good.
we go. Boost, pedal, happy days. Tremolo.
Great. How's that, Simon? Work for you? Nice things? Okay, good.
Sorry, indulge me. How does that compare if you do that with the
Okay.
Hamstead? So how much boost have we got in the Hamstead?
Great.
Was there more in the Supertramp?
There's more in the Supertron. I think there might be a bit more bottom end. It's
Yeah.
But you know, there's plenty in both.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, so if you're a someone who doesn't like a huge amount of pedals, you just want 2 or 3 things, that's a useful thing to have.
Definitely.
Not least the usual position for a tremolo, we'll come onto this, but is after everything. So it would be a nice place to have it after your overdrive or after, and you get a separate boost.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Racing ahead.
So
I like that.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. Now we get to the more advanced users. We have 2 very, very cool ultra spiffy trams. We have the Tremotron and we have the Gravitas.
So these are both completely encapsulating that analog signal, digital control
Yeah.
train of thought.
Yes. Specifically because there's things that you can do controlling things by controlling them digitally that you just can't do in an analog sense.
Such as confuse me.
So, right. Let's have a look at the Tremotron. Okay. If you ever play this, right, just have a listen to this. Right?
So cool.
It's amazing. So you have this beautiful analog tremolo circuit, but
Was there a tone on there? Did I hear
there's
as well?
tone
you
on
can,
there.
Yeah.
There's tone
That's
on there.
really
and
useful.
It's very useful, and also your level control.
Yep.
But then you can sweep through these different waveforms.
Yep. Which are obviously much more pronounced than the waveform changes you can get in the pedals that we've looked at so far.
Yes. The other thing though, if you play again, and I'll watch this.
Very cool.
Tap tempo.
Very cool. That's relevant because now personally the way I use tremolo most of the time is not to set the meter of the song whatsoever, because it's there and it kind of goes in and out, and that's what's cool about it. However, if you are playing What's the Frequency Kenneth in your function band tomorrow night,
and the drummer goes 1, 2, 3, 4 and starts it really, really quick.
Drummer's had a couple of sherbets before the gig, bit nervous, argument for his wife. He's late getting there. He's dinged his car in the car park. He brings his tubs in. He's forgotten a stand, and he's just all a bit,
pushy.
He's a bit, and he's like, right, come on. All of a sudden, your tremolo setting for What's the Frequency Kenneth is completely out.
It's very groovy.
It's completely good. I'm sure there are other tremolo pedals that have a tap tempo.
Yeah.
I can't remember seeing one.
Okay. But that's not even the coolest thing. Check this out. So, play that sound. Press this. There are 2 tremolo circuits in there that you can layer on top of each other. And you have presets.
Oh, blimmers. What was happening there? That wasn't the ring modulator, it was just that there were 2 very fast tremolos.
Yeah. Sort of beating against each other. I was going to... So... But... How cool is that, though?
Really cool.
It's too much. It's too much.
Exceptionally cool.
Yeah. I love it. It's great.
Yep.
Very, very cool.
Yep, no doubt.
So moving on to the Gravitas. The other thing, sorry, it has MIDI as well. So you can do MIDI presets. I know. It is amazing. It is amazing.
I love what Luke and Stone Deaf are doing with MIDI in general. They have amps that we're going to have a look at some point.
Yes.
Where you can get really good MIDI control over analog changes in the amp sounds. Yeah. Awesome. Nice, innovative and exciting. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. And moving on to Chase Bliss. So our dear friend Joel Corti has this amazing range of pedals. Again, completely analog with digital control. I've become a massive fan. Just, I love, first of all, Joel, legend. And it's such a creative approach to doing pedals. Complete, no compromise when it comes to, the best sound and stuff. But then to get the pedal to do what he wanted it to do, he needed to move beyond analog control, and so gone to digital. It's amazing. So, and there are similarities between the Tremotron and the Gravitas. For example, with the Gravitas, if you've played this one. So we have a drive and a volume, so you can get a bit more of a gain here.
Just makes me want to play.
Yeah.
Makes me want to play.
We have, this is the module shape. So we've got the shapes of the sine wave. So what we can do is we can go from a sine wave, we can go to a square wave. Or I can have the front of the signal as a sine wave and the back of the signal as a square wave. I can then move the center point towards the sine wave. Or put the center point on the square wave.
Could you just sweep through those with where the center point is?
Okay. Again, we've got volume and tone. You've got your tap tempo. And using the dip switches on the back, you can engage a second tremolo.
Okay.
So, for example, if we go through a couple of presets here, you'll hear.
It's funny with the two tremolos. It's obviously not the same thing, but it's kind of what you get when you have two delays. You get a rhythmic pattern going, which can, affect the meter of the song.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Isn't it great?
It is, and a nice like the Tremotron. If you really want to get into that, it's an inspiration machine, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I think that's we've touched on this in videos past, where you start off with something very simple like the TR2, and if you want just a bit of tremolo wobble, and that's what you're after, something like that, or the Mooer Trelicopter, which we both like. Mm-hmm. Any other simple tremolo, TC probably does a really good one. Perfect.
Yep.
You then hit an issue of the volume drop. Mm-hmm. You want to address that. You also might want the sound of the preamps. I actually really like the sound of the preamp in the Fulltone. And a couple of extra features, and you move on to something like the Hamstead or the Fulltone. Mm-hmm. And then we're into, I really care about this.
Yeah. Or creative tinkering. That's I can sit down with the Gravitas and the Tremotron and lost for days.
Yeah.
You know, because it is so much fun. And the thing is, you discover there's no way that you can go into that and thinking it with a sound in your head trying to get that.
No.
You know, you simply muck around with them.
Yeah.
And there's like, oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, in that respect, if you're someone who doesn't want a million pedals, something like a really good tremolo, a nice delay and a great overdrive for days, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got so many options there. On the subject of which, should we talk about order?
Yes.
Have a little talk about overdrive and, you know, where you might think about putting tremolo in relation to delay and reverb?
Sure. So let's talk about overdrive to start with. Let's use the Super Trem as an example. So the question is, where do you put your tremolo in your pedal chain? I'm going to show you an example of having it before and after the overdrive. So the overdrive we've got today is
MXR Custom Shop Il Diavolo Overdrive, which I believe was released at NAMM this year. MXR have sent us that, thank you very much. Designed with an Italian pedal designer, and I have to refer to his name here because I can't remember it off the top of my head. Carlo Sorazio. Hang on, I'm going to try that again.
Go.
I've got a bit of paper here. Carlos Sorazio.
Oh God! Oh. Don't do it! Please don't do it.
Carlos Sorazio. Sorry, Dan and I just had a bit of a funny there.
Okay.
Right, so it's it's an overdrive that does. In fact, Dan, you play. I've been playing all day today. Keep going.
So
I'll just have a quick run through it.
okay, yep. Great. Now for these purposes, I want to have quite a bit of gain in there, so we can... So, what I've done, I have this Super Trem set up.
I was going to turn the reverbs down a little bit because now that we're hitting the amps harder, the reverbs are going, hello!
Beautiful.
Still a goodly amount, but not quite as much as we had before.
Okay, in this context, we have the overdrive going into the tremolo. Okay, so the guitar is hitting the overdrive is hitting the tremolo, and this is what this sounds like. Okay.
Just sounds awesome.
It sounds amazing, doesn't it? Now, I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to put the overdrive after the tremolo, and you get this.
So if you hit the note on the quiet bit,
Yep.
and we'll turn the speed down so you can hear it. Hit the note on the quiet bit.
Okay, and so as opposed to this, exactly the same setting. So that is the tremolo after. That is tremolo after the overdrive.
I've just turned the speed up a little bit so it's not quite so. Could you do that again?
Yep. So this is the tremolo after the overdrive. Tremolo before the overdrive. Okay. So.
Really interesting.
So what's happening there? Remember that your overdrive really is also a compressor. Okay, it's taking your signal and it's squaring off all the edges and making it clip. It's exactly. Now with the overdrive before the tremolo is acting as a volume circuit after the overdrive. So the gain is set by the amount of input coming from the guitar going into the overdrive pedal. Yep. And then the volume with the tremolo after that is a much more drastic. But if we swap that and we put the tremolo going into the overdrive pedal, the tremolo is controlling the amount of gain that the overdrive is seeing. So even with the tremolo at a lower volume level, what's happening here is it's simply just the overdrive level is simply distorting less. It's clipping less. But as the tremolo opens up and allows more volume through, then the overdrive pedal distorts more because it clips more.
That's why I was asking him to hit the guitar on the quiet bits and on the loud bits, because if he hits it on a quiet bit, it's almost clean. And if you hit it on a loud bit of the tremolo, with the tremolo before the overdrive, you get the full gain.
Yep. So that's really important. And they're both fantastic sounds.
Yeah.
But it's where you want the how you want the tremolo reacting with your gain stages. So that's the first one.
I just want to try one thing before we move on.
Yep.
And that's I just want to hear this boost after the overdrive. So using this pedal not as a tremolo, just as a boost. This is a slight tangent, but there we go. So if you could turn this on and have this first, can we do that?
Yep.
And then give us some twang.
This is without the overdrive pedal. This is the overdrive pedal going into the trem. right.
Keep playing, keep playing.
Huge amount of boost there.
Excellent.
Right.
Absolutely excellent.
Okay, and again, same thing if we swap the order. I pull out the overdrive pedal, and this is with the tremolo before the overdrive. Oh, yeah! So again, obviously what's going on there is the output from the tremolo is boosting into the overdrive, giving a small gain.
Yeah, that was really about gain stacking. That wasn't about
Yep.
tremolo, but
Yep.
I've discovered something about the Super Trem that I really love,
Cool.
and that is a great boost pedal as well.
I think, it's a lovely preamp. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, so that is tremolos with gains. Now let's have a look at tremolo with delay.
Yes, this was when we did our video on pedal order basics, probably a year or more ago, and we are going to revisit that in a much more sort of beginner-friendly or basic-friendly format. It was a huge surprise, not huge surprise. It was a completely obvious realization to me where the tremolo should go on your pedal board, which I guess is what we're coming to.
Yeah. Here is our delay pedal. This is my Providence Chrono delay. I've had this for years. Great delay. Really clean. It's like a 2290 in a box.
It's really nice.
It's amazing.
I'm not hearing modulation there, am I?
No, there's no modulation in it. It's just straight, clean.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, now, so the first thing we're going to do is going to put our tremolo into the delay. And it sounds like this. Can you tell me the rate of the tremolo if I play with the tremolo going into the delay?
Not when you're playing notes, but when it goes off a bit.
Yeah.
The two things are really fighting against one another, aren't they?
Exactly. So what's happening there is the tremolo, you've got this pulsing, and then that pulsing thing is being delayed. So you've got the pulsing thing with echoes of that pulse going over the top of it.
Well, in the same way as the overdrive, if the tremolo is before the delay, you may pick a note when it's on the down. Therefore, that note doesn't end up getting delayed. So instead of your nice note delay, you're actually getting a volume swell,
Yeah,
which is a thing. You might want that.
sure.
Probably quite useful in some respects, but not. It's not normal, man.
But now if I do the opposite, if I put the tremolo after the delay, you get this. I love that. So,
Yeah.
I'd probably, if I had that mix a little bit lower. There's still plenty of delay there, but the master effect there is the tremolo, because the tremolo is controlling the output level of everything. It's modulating that amplitude so that no matter what's coming before it, you still get that pulse. Whereas if I went to again with that exactly the same settings on both pedals, but I'll simply swap the order now. To me, that sounds confused.
It's harder to play.
Yeah.
Definitely harder to play. And of course it makes sense, because if you are using tremolo in an amplifier, if you have an old Fender or a Ampeg, I don't know.
I love old Ampegs.
Marshalls, some Marshalls. Anyway, various amps have tremolo in them. A lot of modern amps have tremolo in them. It is after your delay, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because your delay is in front of the amp.
Yeah.
Actually, interesting question about if you're running your delay in the loop, does the tremolo circuit come after the loop? Yes, it does, because in most amps, if it's nice, it's an output bias tremolo, which is, yeah. We haven't even spoken about that today, by different kinds of tremolo, but maybe we'll do that another day.
Yeah.
Before we finish, reverb.
Oh, okay.
Reverb before tremolo, reverb after tremolo.
Well, let's have a listen.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, tremolo going into the reverb.
There's quite a lot of reverb.
There's quite a lot of reverb, but I'm doing that to extend to accentuate the effect. Now, tremolo after reverb. So again, the tremolo is controlling the amplitude of everything. Personally, though, I like my tremolo before the reverb, and
I think I do as well.
Yeah, so and I just have a little bit of reverb, and you get this.
Put the delay on as well.
So now what I need to do is move the tremolo after the delay, but before the reverb.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I think we will. Hopefully, we will have got there. Nice.
Awesome.
Very great sound. Very great sound. Right, okay, finally, before we end, both of these amps have got tremolo in, so shall we just have a listen to the tremolo on the amps? In fact, this is an opportunity for us to do a bit of wet dry, isn't it?
Yeah.
So all the pedals, well, we might use the overdrive, but the all the tremolo pedals are off on the Uplay on the board. So the only tremolo and reverb you'll hear now is from the amps. So first off, we're going to hear. I'm going to turn the Hamstead off. I don't know how to do that. Where's the switch?
It's to the master down.
Okay. So give us the. Pretty cool. Here's the Hamstead's vibrato. Tremolo. Right, okay. On Fender amps, it's sometimes called vibrato. We're not going to get into that discussion. We've talked about it before. Here's the Hamstead's tremolo. How do I make this work?
Little switch.
Here.
Yep.
Excellent.
And now leave the Hamstead tremolo off on the Fender.
Yeah, so this will now be wet dry. You'll be hearing tremolo out of the Hamstead and not out the Fender. If you play, I'll turn it on while.
Oh, the Maker.
How cool is that?
It's just so good.
So if you were doing that from your pedal board, you're running a wet dry, run tremolo into one amp and not the other. You can see a little bit of that in the video we made recently for my pedal board.
Man.
But that any kind of modulation effect, whether it's a chorus, and we will call tremolo a modulation because it's modulating amplitude. So we'll say that it is a modulation pedal. Any kind of modulation pedal, run wet dry.
Just the sense of space it gives you is so
Fantastic.
It is awesome. I'm emotionally spent.
I've got a white and gold guitar. Okay, well, great. A fairly lengthy run through some very cool tremolo pedals. Quick divergence into the amps. And yes, there'll be a load of comments that say, what about the harmonic tremolo on certain Fender amps? Yes, with that you get a certain amount of pitch variation as well. It's a slightly different circuit. We're not going to get into it. It's a cool sound. So, right, thank you to everyone who's gone onto Patreon.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Crowdfunding for creatives. Thank you very much for that. It helps us keep doing what we're doing. Thank you to our exclusive preferred retailers, which in the USA is
Riff City Music,
which in the UK is
Editon's Music,
which in Australia is
Empire, Pedal Empire. My friend Matt from Pedal Empire.
So if you're thinking about buying something, please check those guys out.
Yeah.
And also thanks to everyone who's gone to that Pedal Show store and bought a garment or other stuff that we do, which is good.
Thank you so
very
much,
much.
guys. Yep. Brilliant. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next week.
Cheerio.
Cheers, guys. Bye.